this is Ogre Boy, and I'm going to be doing my ranking of the 5 Disney Star Wars movies. I'm going to go ahead and leave The Mandalorian and Star Wars Rebels and Resistance off because they're TV shows, and I haven't watched Rebels in a long time. I've only seen like half of season 1. I haven't seen any of Resistance yet, and so I'm just going to leave those shows off. I might watch all of them sometime and just do a ranking of all the Star Wars shows sometime. But this ranking is just going to be the 5 movies that Disney has released in theaters over the last 4 years. So starting out at number 5 is Solo: A Star Wars Story. I really enjoy this movie a lot. I think it's a lot of fun. Aaron Allwright was really good as Han Solo for the most part. Like he got the mannerisms and stuff down perfectly. His voice and his line delivery and stuff, maybe not extremely great, but he was still really good. He could have been a lot worse than he was, and he still was way better than I ever expected. So I'm not gonna crap on him or anything, because I know he does get a lot of hate and stuff because he's not Harrison Ford and everything, but if you watch the movie and not expect him to be Harrison Ford, I think you could enjoy it a lot better, because he is pretty good as Han Solo. So, it's just, this one's not one of my most favorites in the franchise, but it's definitely not a terrible one either. It's a lot of fun and everything. It's really fast paced and everything. It never really slows down. It has some pretty cool twists, and it's just a lot of fun. But it is my least favorite out of the Disney Star Wars movies, but doesn't mean that I think it's a bad movie. To me, they're all really good. It's just you can't put them all up in the top. But so Solo is number 5, and number 4 is Rogue One: A Star Wars Story. I really enjoyed this movie a lot when I rewatched it. First couple times I watched it, I was never really huge on it. I was actually pretty disappointed with it the very first time I saw it, and then on rewatch and stuff, the second time I liked it a tiny bit more, but it still wasn't one of my favorites. But after I've been rewatching all of these movies in the franchise and everything recently, I really have come to appreciate this movie, and I like it a lot more now than I did. I really liked Jyn Erso. I think she's a really cool character, and I like Donnie Yen's character. I can't pronounce his name right, so I'm not even going to try to say his name. But I really like him. I love when he's like, I'm one with the Force and the Force is with me, and especially that scene, like when he's going to try to get the shield down or whatever, right before he gets killed. But that was a really awesome scene, and there's some really cool choreography scenes when he's fighting stormtroopers and everything. And one of my favorite parts in the entire movie is when the troopers are fixing to take them in and everything, and they put bags over their head, and he said, "Are you kidding me? I'm blind." I thought that was a kind of a funny moment. But yeah, Rogue One is a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed it on rewatch. Plus, it also has one of the best Darth Vader scenes of all time, when that scene at the end of the movie. That scene alone is worthy of just watching this movie alone. It makes it worth watching. But yeah, so Rogue One is number 4, and number 3 is Star Wars: The Force Awakens. All 3 of these movies I think are very, very good movies in this trilogy and everything, these top 3, and I absolutely love The Force Awakens. I think it was just a lot of fun. The cast of new characters were really awesome. It was awesome getting to see Han and Leia again together, and I did hate that Han Solo died. And everything, because I think I wish that he would have been able to be in the rest of the trilogy, and we would have ended up getting to see that big reunion between the big 3 of Han, Luke, and Leia and everything. But it was an emotional moment and everything, and for a long time I absolutely hated Kylo Ren because of it and everything. But after seeing the next two movies, Kylo Ren's actually become my favorite character of the new trilogy and everything. I really do like this movie a lot, though. And there are a lot of cool things that happen in here. And I know a lot of people say they play it safe and everything, and it's too much like A New Hope. I can see the similarities, but it doesn't really bother me. I loved A New Hope, so trying to imitate a movie that was so perfect and everything, and still giving us a good time, didn't really bother me. This movie was a lot of fun and everything. So The Force Awakens is number 3, and number 2 is Star Wars The Last Jedi. I know a lot of people hate this movie, and there are a lot of people that love it too. And I've always really enjoyed this movie a lot. It was one of my favorites in the franchise when it first came out, and it's moved down a little bit on my ranking. It not because I think it's bad or anything. It's just I had forgotten how much I love some of the other movies in the franchise more than this. But I do really love The Last Jedi. I think it's a really fun movie. The stuff with Canto Bight and Finn and Rose, I know a lot of people don't like, and it didn't really bother me, but I do kind of agree that it was kind of pointless. But then again, at the same time, it also was cool to see our heroes go on a mission and fail and everything, because I mean, you don't always win at life. That's not realistic. You're not going to win every single time, and they could have kept that out of the movies, and it wouldn't have, out of the movie, and it wouldn't have changed much. But I'm still glad that it was in there. And as far as Luke Skywalker goes, I loved his character arc, and I loved how like he's such a different person after everything that he's been through and everything. Plus, I mean, you're not going to be the same person you were in your 20s when you're in your 60s. You're going to have changed over time. I mean, it's not realistic to be the exact same person. And yeah, there were things that I would have liked, like what everybody was expecting, like Luke to go and face down the First Order by himself and stuff at the end of the movie. It would have been cool to see, but at the same time, it is what it is. It doesn't really bother me, and everything. I just really liked The Last Jedi a lot. Thought it was a lot of fun. I loved like the story arc between Rey and Kylo Ren, and as a Reylo shipper, you could tell that they were getting. You could tell the vibes that they really were into each other and stuff. And I loved that. I kind of do wish that Kylo Ren would have redeemed himself at the end of this movie, because to me, redeeming himself at the end of this movie and having him as one of the heroes of the next one would have been awesome. But like I said, this is a really good movie though. I'm not gonna crap on it or anything. So The Last Jedi is number 2, and number 1 is The Rise of Skywalker. There is a lot of stuff about this movie that I loved. I thought Daisy Ridley was great as Rey. This was like her best performance in the whole trilogy. I loved what they did with Leia, with what little footage they could and everything. She had a much bigger arc and stuff than I expected, and I thought they did a great job with it. I loved that C-3PO got a little arc, and it was the best he had been since the original trilogy. I just absolutely loved the stuff they did with him. The little new droid, Dio, he was just, I really liked him. Every time anybody would try to reach down towards him or whatever, he would go, no thank you, no thank you. I love that little droid. He was adorable. And there's just a lot about this movie. There's a lot more that I'd like to talk about, but I'm not gonna go into details about this movie because I don't want to spoil The Rise of Skywalker for anybody who hasn't seen it yet, because it's still fairly new and everything. I kind of have a rule on not talking spoilers on Star Wars movies until they're out on DVD, unless I'm doing a spoiler review. So I'm not going to say anything else about it. There are a lot of other things about it that I loved, but I'm not going to go into. But The Rise of Skywalker was just a really, really great movie. I felt like it was a very satisfying ending to the franchise. It does have a lot of fan service, but as a huge fan, it doesn't really bother me. I know it does some people, but I don't really see why it's that big of a deal. It means that they were listening to the fans and everything. So, I mean, I guess it doesn't really bother me, though. But anyway, so that's my ranking of the 5 Star Wars movies that Disney has released so far. Let me know in the comments how you would rank the 5 Disney movies from Star Wars that they did, and hope you enjoyed this video, and have a good day, everybody.